Ladies and gentlemen, we will go ahead and call this meeting to order. Today is the November 8th, 2022 meeting of the Laughlin Town Advisory Board here at 101 Civic Way in Laughlin, Nevada. Some items to read into the minutes. Items on the agenda may be taken out of order, and the board may combine two or more agenda items for consideration. The board may remove an item from the agenda or delay discussion relating to an item at any time. No action may be taken on any matter not listed on today's posted agenda. All planning and zoning matters heard at this meeting are forwarded to the Board of County Commissioners Zoning Commission, known as the BCC, or the Clark County Planning Commission, known as the PC, for final action. Please take a moment to mute or turn off all cell phones and other electronic devices. And if there are any private conversations, please take them outside the room. Within 48 hours, advance request, a sign language interpreter, or other reasonable efforts to assist and accommodate persons with physical disabilities may be made available by calling 702-455-3530, TDD at 702-385-7486, or Relay Nevada toll-free at 800-326-6868. Supporting material provided to the board members for this meeting may be requested from our Secretary, Tammy Harris, at 702-298-0828, and supporting material is or will be available at the Clark County Department of Administrative Services, 500 South Grand Central Parkway, Las Vegas, and also on the website for Clark County, which is clarkcountynv.gov/Laughlin, TAB. Present before you today, I'll do a roll call. Pamela Walker. Here. Herman Walker, no relation. Here. Fred Doughton. Here. Kathleen Haas, Vice Chair.
Here.
And myself, Kathy Oakes, your Chair. Our Secretary is Tammy Harris, and she can be reached at 702-298-0828, an email address of Tammy, Tammy, Harris, Harris, at clarkcountynv.gov. Also, our county liaison is with us here today, Mark Moskowitz, and he can be reached again at 702-298-0828 and 702-455-6173. His email is mark.moskowitz, MOSKOWITZ, at clarkcountynv.gov. So this has been our call to order, and we've already done our roll call. If I can please have you stand for our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Kathleen Haas.
Please salute our flag and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So we'll move forward to item number 2 on our agenda today, which is the public comment session of this meeting. It's a period devoted to comments by the general public about items on today's agenda. No discussion, action, or vote may be taken on this agenda item at this time. You are also afforded an opportunity to speak on the individual public hearing items at the time they are presented. If you wish to speak to the board about items within its jurisdiction but not appearing on today's agenda, you must wait until the end of our session on the comments by general public, period listed at the end of today's agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to our speaker's podium, state your name and address, and please spell your name for the record. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of presentation, it'll be done by the chair or by the board by majority vote. Is there anyone that would like to speak publicly on items that do appear on today's agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'll close the public comment section. So item number 3 is approval of our minutes for October 11th, 2022, and I'll combine that with approval of today's agenda for November 8th, 2022, to hold, combine, or delete any items. This is for action. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Moving forward to our informational items, we'll start today with receiving a report and updates from South County Liaison Mark Moskowitz, and this is for discussion purposes.
Thank you, Chair. We had a very busy October. The first event was the bus rodeo with Silver Rider on October 15th. It was a great opportunity. Commissioner Naft and myself, we were able to present about 60 proclamates to all the employees. It's an employee appreciation event. They had to pause them because of COVID, but started them up. A wonderful time. They had a bus rodeo where all the employees and family members are able to actually drive a bus through an obstacle course and kind of set time. So there's a lot of camaraderie. There was food. There was a bounce house. So it was great to see everyone. Great turnout, and I thank them for inviting myself and the commissioner. Second thing is I also was able to attend the Coffee with the Cop, which was a great turnout with Gino back there as well. We had a wonderful dialogue discussion with everyone in the community, so I always appreciate when Metro invites our office to those. Trunk or treats, they were wonderful. We had several of them in the community. Everyone had a blast. I think everyone had a safe and fun and Halloween time, so I appreciate that. I also want to extend a thank you and a congratulations to Jackie with the Chamber. She did a wonderful job with the Community Achievement Awards this Saturday. I know it's no easy task. I've been a judge before, and she ran a flawless event, so her and her team did a wonderful job. And with that as well, I want to congratulate Kathleen Haas as part of the Elks for winning an award as well. So it's always great to see members of our community be highlighted so well. So that's it. Also, we have our new newsletters in the back, so please be sure to pick one of those up. Once again, there's a lot of good information in them. As always, we can send them electronically, but this is a great highlight of the district day and everything going on. So those are all my updates.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll move forward to item number 2, which is to receive a report. It's not Lieutenant Rogers, with the Metro Police regarding activity and statistics during the past month and area crime concerns. Sergeant Gino.
Hi, Board. Pleasure to be here. Gino, Sergeant Briscoe, standing in for Lieutenant Grant Rogers. Calls for service in Laughlin, October 2022, of course, was 312. There was an uptick in 2021 of 357, so we had a reduction of 12.61%. In September, we only had 273 calls for service. A lot of that deals with any call. Unlike Las Vegas, we go on all calls. So if a citizen has a complaint, in fact, we went on a civil disturbance today. It wasn't a criminal one, but we try to maintenance everything. So sometimes it seems like the calls for service are high, but we're just helping the community in that aspect of it. Traffic citations, we wrote 216 down here in the Laughlin jurisdiction. 5 DUI arrests down here in Laughlin. One interesting arrest in Searchlight was a gentleman driving 100 miles an hour, and sure enough, he was stopped, and unfortunately, he's under the weather, under the influence of alcohol, so he was booked, but he was headed towards the Searchlight community. Just to let you know that we extend all the way out there, of course you know. Arrests, adult, we had 6 for battery domestic violence here in Laughlin. We had 30 bookings, which include the 6 of the domestic violence, additional bookings. And then since school kicked in, we've been to the high school and we're maintaining all the children, liaison with the parents, make them feel comfortable about being there and representing the LVMPD as an agency. So we had 1 citation up there. So all in all, it was good. Community Achievement Awards were great. Had a good time there. The Coffee with the Cop, I love to see Mark show up. He answers a lot of questions, and I can go, hey, it's your turn. So it's wonderful. And we did have quite a few trunk or treats, so we kept that down. So we didn't have too many calls for service on Halloween, which was really good. That's all I have.
I just have a question, and maybe there's some input from the board. Now that you guys are playing just such an active role, and we've talked about having calls for service and having law enforcement at the high school.
Yes.
Station, well, I don't know, we used to have campus police in my
Correct.
day. But one of the things I was wondering if you might be able to add to this is the high school calls.
Okay, yeah,
If you
not a
could
problem.
just, because that's something that, you know, as we go forward and request and try and support the need of having campus police, if there was something that we were looking at on a monthly basis that told us how much of your time was being put there. And typically, we've looked at the fact that other, campuses that are smaller than ours do have campus police in Clark County.
Correct. Clark County School Police, for the audience, doesn't come down here. We are it. We respond to it under all circumstances. We try to preventively maintenance it with officers that go there during the morning, slow the speeders down on Cougar Drive and so forth. What Lieutenant Rogers is doing is he's keeping track with the school violence sheet. Now, it doesn't always track violence. It's for any call for service that we go up there, but that's the name to it. And what he's doing is we're keeping track, compiling it, we get a statistic, and we shoot it to the school district, and we liaison with them, try to get them to release an officer to come down here, an actual school PD officer.
Right.
So I can, I'll have the,
And that information, if there's any way we can support that from this board, I think
You bet.
unanimously you'd find support from us for that. And that just may
Yes.
be a way to keep it, at the forefront,
yes,
so that
keep
we're
you
aware.
informed too as well.
Correct.
You bet.
Okay, thank you. Any
Pleasure.
questions from the board or conversation?
Yes, ma'am.
Like those numbers are staying high. What is that attributed?
Well, you have the holidays on a lot of high-stress period. You have spending that comes up along with the alcoholism. There are other factors that go in there. People are people, and they get very emotional during times of season. So they don't always know how to act. And we have a great resource. I know you know Stephanie Bethard. She's a victim's advocate. She provides safe houses. She provides, lodging for children and so forth, and assists them on temporary restraining orders. So sometimes when you see the uptick, it's the holiday season, but then you have summer, which is another thing too, because we get a lot of out-of-state people. They're dysfunctional families. They think a vacation's going to help it. They come out here. All of a sudden, the alcohol and the gaming, kind of play into it to a degree, and they get stressed, whether you win or lose or drink too much. So that plays into their emotions.
Something within the community that we can do to discuss this?
A resource, yeah.
No, because it's human behavior. It's like, did you choose to speed today? Well, I was late for work. And the same thing, did I get upset at my husband or my wife? Yes, I did. How did you act when, or how do you act when that happens? Is it a conversation or is you raising your hand? So human behavior is it fluctuates a lot. So we're doing our best that we can too. Yeah. Yep.
And I noticed you had one juvenile for battery domestic. So is that a juvenile beating on their parents or?
At times we do, yeah. And you have the child act out, and they have to suffer the consequences. You bet.
Yeah, you just don't see that very often.
No, you don't.
No.
Yep.
Okay, Jackie, do you?
And can we ask about your drills for active shooter at the school? How many times a year do you do those?
We have MACTAC training, tactical training that allows us to, we do it at the high school, we usually do it once a year, and we run the hallways. We have keys to all the doors, so we can get in there, and we take our officers when we're off duty, not off duty, but when we're not on call for service, we go to the high school and we walk it, so that we know where the lunchroom is, we know where the principal's office is. There's one room, it's a safe room, and we can't get into it, but it just houses the Clark County School District records. And it's not a very big room, it's like a 12 by 6, so they could close the door on that, they could hide in there. But they have their own protocol, but yes, we do train. We actively go to the high school and we walk the grounds and we make sure we know the teachers, because it's community, and that's what we do. And that's how we prepare for it.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Any more questions from the board? Okay, thank you.
I have one
Oh,
question.
Yes,
Kathleen.
please.
Can you give us a little update on National Night Out?
National Night Out was fantastic. I served about 200 snow cones. I was so busy with the crowd, and it never ended. We had about 250 people. We had parking. That was off the hook. We've never had that before. The citizens that came to see us, because we partnered with Nevada Power, we partnered with everybody in the community to come up there and represent. And it was just, and it's just not Nevada Power. There's a lot of people that focus their energy and effort, and I would love to sit here and name them off, but I don't have a list. So it was beautiful. There were no injuries, no one got upset. It was just, everybody had a good time. We had things to give away. I mean, everybody just gave us, and we supported them. So it was wonderful. The community really came out on that one.
Yeah.
Great.
It was, it's a lot of.
Yeah, no problem. Next time I'll have a whole list.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sergeant.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we had receiving a report from Sergeant Wayne Dice with Nevada State Police. I don't see him with us today. Receive a report from Clark County Fire Department regarding calls for service during the past month and other, okay, I don't see anyone from the fire department. Will Smith is not with us today. However, is there paperwork in the back? Okay, he did bring the report from the Water Reclamation District for the wastewater system, and that's at the back of the room. I believe we have copies in our file. And Jason Bailey with the Big Bend Water District is not with us today, but again, he did bring his report for the water status of the water system, and it's at the back of the room. Okay, and we were to receive a report from Alon Bilbray with Parks and Recreation regarding status of programs and updated activity and upcoming activities. I don't see her with us. So we will move forward, because I think there's quite a bit here, to Sabrina Mills with University of Nevada Extension regarding status of programs and upcoming activities. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello. So this is like my first time giving a report, because last month I was actually traveling for a youth conference with all of 4-H for the country, which was pretty cool. I got to learn a lot of curriculum so that we can implement here, and got to talk with a lot of other states with smaller communities, so I could see how 4-H was running there, and it was really helpful for me to be able to bring it back here. So I'm really excited to give you a report about 4-H and how it's going in Laughlin so far. I've been working with Bennett Elementary School at the high school with Don Estes and a few of the 4th grade teachers to try to get a robotics programming going. That hasn't happened yet. We're still waiting to see if the students who do choose to do the 4-H program with them, if they can use the late bus so that you're able to leave school without their parents having to pick them up. So that's still in the works. I'm actually waiting to hear back from them on that one. I've been working with the library recently to start a program called New Faces, New Places at the library for students after school to be able to come and to learn about what 4-H is, and it's being currently offered in Las Vegas right now with the other people I work with for Clark County. And so they've seen a really good impact just to introduce 4-H to students, and so that's a possibility that'll be happening soon. I was emailing with the library today, and they're looking at their schedule to see if it'll work. So that one will be soon. I'm hoping it'll start in January, so yes. As for our Master Gardener program with Extension, I've been working with them quite frequently. I've gotten them all fingerprinted, and so that they can work with youth. My hopes is to bring a junior Master Gardener program down here so that the Master Gardeners can work with the youth and be able to have them use the community garden more and actually have it be a huge community resource that way. I've also been looking at all of our documents that have been previously involved with Master Gardener and our community garden to try to get it so that the community can actually rent the plots again, so that it can actually be open for the public more. So I have those documents finished, but I'm just waiting to coordinate with my Master Gardeners a little bit more to make sure that they're all ready for that. As for, we have an Ask a Master Gardener program that they've been doing monthly since I've gotten here too. They actually changed the date. It's usually held on the 4th Wednesday of every month, but for this month in November, they moved it back to the last Wednesday of the month, so that because of Thanksgiving and that stuff. And then because of the holidays with Christmas, we decided to start again in January with that program again, and that's just open to the community so they can ask gardening questions. And that's just held at the library every 4th Wednesday of the month, so from 10:30 to 12:30. I also just wanted to give an update. We are also currently looking for volunteers for 4-H, like any community member that wanted to become a volunteer. Clark County actually just got a new 4-H volunteer coordinator. His name is Ryan Tesser. So I created a flyer there too with a QR code for people to fill out an application to become a volunteer for 4-H. What a volunteer is just like they come in and they can teach the classes, and because there's only one of me and I can only teach so much, so getting volunteers, they can administer those classes to the 4-Hers. So that is all I have for you.
Okay. Any questions from the board? No? All right. Welcome, and thank you very much.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that we can get the Boys and Girls Club and the seniors at the community center to utilize and work together at the community garden? 'Cause it's so close.
Yeah, so the community garden is like, it's open to the public by appointment, and all of the information that gets, like, anyone who contacts the community garden, it goes to me, and so I can coordinate that with them. The idea is that I have 13 plots available, so anybody can rent those. So if like the Boys and Girls Club wanted to rent a plot, they could have that plot, and they would just have it for the full year contract. And I have those contracts available. I just have just like a little, trying not to get overwhelmed by how much stuff I have and could do, right? So, yeah. Yes.
Okay. If we could, with these questions, no, it's fine. Because this is informational, but it's just, because these are recorded, we can't hear what you're asking. So if you would maybe come up to the podium and then, and state your question. It's just, we're recorded and this is public information, so other people may have the same question as you, so it's information that everyone would want access to.
What I'd like to know is, what is discussed at the class? Is it specific plants, or is it plants that you have concerns about that you're trying to grow?
So our master gardeners, it's literally just like, right now it's very casual, so like the public can literally just come in and ask questions if they want, but they have previously done presentations too. So it really just kind of depends on what the community needs, and like
Okay.
you can even let that be known. Like, I would love to learn about pollinators, so like bees in my garden, and they could do a special topic on that, so.
And what are the sizes of the plots?
I don't know. I
Okay.
can figure that out. They're not huge. They're like
They're like 4x8, and they
I
have,
see.
we worked on them with rotary. So
Yeah.
they're filled with soil already.
Right.
And they're not very far above the ground. So what her and I talked about was getting.
You're almost loud enough, but we're close.
we talked about possibly doing raised beds for the garden for like the older
For the
community.
seniors, so that they can roll in and play in the
Ah, you
garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I do have funding possibly. I just need to talk to my supervisors and look at if that's possible to add to our garden. But also, I'm part of the Rotary now too, and so that could be something we do as a Rotary volunteer service thing as well. So.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I would just, and this is a program just because I also come from Europe and from Germany. So in Germany, they have large, like community gardens where people grow their own edibles.
Yeah.
And stuff, and it's huge in Europe.
Yeah, and
you
so
know.
if you ever have the chance in Vegas to go to the Clark County Extension Office, they have a massive garden, and it's a community garden that the Master Gardener programs that they manage and give away to the public and stuff like that. And so
Yeah,
like
it'd be
that-
wonderful to have something like that
And
here
so
for
like
us.
that's the goal
To
for our
use
garden
it.
too.
Yeah.
So yeah, to use
No, I
it. And-
agree, I
yeah.
agree. Yep. All right, well, thank you. It's been
Yeah,
very informative.
Thank you.
Okay, now it's all yours. Receive a report from Jackie Wolin, the Laughlin Chamber of Commerce, regarding current and upcoming business activities in Laughlin, and then she'll switch hats and present for the Laughlin Tourism Commission.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're taking a deep breath after CAAs. We had 550 people in attendance. The meal could not have been any better. The steak and shrimp and salad were all marvelous. The service was great. The ambiance was amazing. And I think for our first year back, it made a statement. And we used the black and white colors and feathers to make a statement in my opening remarks regarding the gray areas in our life and actually trying to use them and quit being so black and white with your fellow humans on earth. Everybody has their own place in those 5,000 shades of gray, and that doesn't mean that they're wrong. It just means that you have to be more accepting and more tolerant with those people. And I hope that that got out to some people and they heard that, especially now during our time of election. The ribbon cutting's coming up. There's going to be one on November 7th at 11 a.m., and it's going to be at the Heritage Park Trails on the Arizona side. That's when they're going to officially connect our Heritage Park Trails on the Nevada side to the ones on the Arizona side. The only place that will be interrupted would be at the Laughlin Bridge, and that's because they have to cross traffic. So You know already that I'm working with NDOT to see if we can get a special request and to have a project done to add a pedestrian walkway to the north side that will accommodate humans and bicycles, human walkers and bicycles, and that's going to be a long time coming, but in the meantime, we'll keep plugging away at it. And that's going to be on the Arizona side, right at the east end of Davis Dam. Educational mixers and networking, we have one on the last Friday of every month. However, this one's going to be a week early because of Thanksgiving. So on the last one we had was from Bullhead Print and Ship, and we learned more about shipping and printing in this area and the services that are available. We think we're in a small community. Well, the things that the large communities have are here. We just didn't know where to find them, and now we do. This one that we had is right across the street from the Terribles on Highway 95 at Safeway. It's right across the street, and they have wonderful, I guess you'd say equipment, machines, and those kind of things. They can even print blueprints. That's how big they are. The next one is on November 18th, and it's a presentation, educational product and service highlights about Nevada-made marijuana. It's a regular, just educational event. You can actually sign up for a tour through there, so that if you don't know anything about cannabis or marijuana or the medicinal uses of it, you can actually go for a tour with the management there, and you can learn all about it. So if you go to that one, you'll be able to ask Lisa for help to get in there and get a tour. And that is on November 18th. The Laughlin Chamber of Commerce events, we just finished Community Achievement Awards. Christmas Jingle Mingle is coming up, and instead of having it in the splash or in the buffet, it's moving up to the pavilion. We increase the amount of people that come every single year. This is our second event that benefits Feed a Family program. It's $20 to enter, all you can eat, and we have lots of fun, lots of gifts, lots of special raffle prizes, and we eat really, really good. So that's a great night to ensure that we have people in the family that get to eat that for this holiday. This is our new one. We're bringing back a very old event that used to be here, Christmas Parade of Lights on the River. It'll be at the Riverwalk. You can watch it at the Riverwalk, and you can go to Community Park in Bullhead City. They'll actually launch in Community Park, head north, go around the other side of the bridge, across the Riverwalk, then go to the bridge, turn around, and they'll come back so you can see the other side of their boat. Then they'll go to the south end of Community Park, come back, set their boat, and we're going to have some entertainment. There'll be the entertainment trailer there. We have a bunch of food trucks coming. We're going to have a s'mores bar. We're going to sing with the children and try to circle them into the middle so we can watch them dance and sing songs, and they can be free, and let the parents be able to watch them in that area.
And what time does that start?
Well, right now, we don't exactly know what time the sun will set, so we'll be sending out exact time when that comes around. I did put out some, does it say on the brochure? We have the parade starts at 6 o'clock, and that's about right at that time of year. I think it'll be right around 6, so you can plan your dinner and everything there and let the children run. It is a Saturday. And it just brings more festivity to our area. And we used to have a boat parade here, but they stopped it probably about 15 years ago. We decided we couldn't stand it anymore. Yes, 6 o'clock.
6? Okay.
There's awards, food trucks, s'mores, music, and more.
And one question I was going to ask you, Jackie, if you go back to the November 17th, since that's the Heritage Park Trails Arizona side, is that 11 a.m. Nevada or 11 a.m. Arizona time?
That would be 11 a.m. Arizona time, because it's
On
happening on the Arizona
so 10
side.
a.m. Nevada. Okay.
Yes, correct. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I'm already struggling, really struggling this year.
You can bring your own vessel and participate in the parade. We have openings for 75. I think we've got, last I heard, 18 to 20 already reserved. It's free to be in the Parade of Lights. The only people that have to pay are the vendors, because they're going to be making money at that site, and we're going to charge them so we can pay for the awards. Neither chamber has investment in this. We're letting the community take care of it. We're just facilitating it. It is a community event, and we want the community to get involved on both sides of the river. So we're kind of excited to see who comes out of the woodwork. The Connie Davis 5K Walk and Roll will be on March 4th this year, and registrations are already being taken. There is a deadline if you want to get the early bird special. So I think it is December 31st. You get your registration in. All you have to do is call the Laughlin Chamber at 702-298-2214, or go to our website at laughlinchamber.com and do registration online. We've made it so easy. Membership is up to 318. Hold on a second. The Laughlin percentage of membership is 31. New members this quarter between October and December is 6, and one of those was a Laughlin new member. Volunteers in Partnership continue to stay very, very busy. If you didn't know, they're everywhere. They were very helpful at Community Achievement Awards. We had 10 Volunteers in Partnership, but we had 11 Interact students that came from our own high school and took great lessons from those VIPs on how to be a respectful and proper, attentive volunteer in community activities. And they did the most wonderful job. Those of you who were there could witness the synchronicity that they had in doing everything. They just followed every request that we gave of them. It was amazing to watch. And we already talked about that. Okay. Oh, it's on the back side. I forgot I did it two-sided this time. My apologies. We're still taking applications for IFP airport ambassadors. They have to have TSA clearance, but they'll also be available to help us for the air show. We have Chris Young coming this weekend. Young Eagles event, if you've never been to one of those, it is amazing. All of the local private pilots come out, and we let all the children under the age of 18 come out, and they get free rides in airplanes. They get to see their house from the sky. And some of those kids, when they get off of that airplane, are so excited they run to their parents and tell them they want an airplane for Christmas. It is just the most amazing thing to see younger people getting excited about aviation. And we do get a lot of interest about going into school and starting to learn aviation technology after that. Then we have the Run Laughlin Finish Line medals and food that is handed out by volunteers, and that can be anybody in the area could do that. It doesn't have to be a volunteer in partnership. You can go out there and help, and that's the funnest part, is putting their medals around their neck. On December 9th through 11th, we have SNOR, which is Southern Nevada Off-Road Enthusiasts, Mackenzie's Rage, and that's the weekend December 9th through 11th. Best in the Desert comes back for the UTV Legends in February. The Laughlin Bullhead Air Show is slated for April 1st. And I don't know how much you want to know about the air show, but so far our coffers have $310,000 in them, and we're working really hard to budget that money wisely. We're still waiting for the state of Nevada to give us a rural marketing grant to help with that, but it's going really good. I think we have 7 performers already signed up, and we won't know about military performers until December 1st. They won't give it to you any earlier than that, based on activity. We have to wait. Then we have the Brooks and Dunn concert will be coming April 29th. That is a signed agreement, and that will be here for the River Run activities on the same weekend. The Volunteers in Partnership have selected the recipients of all their money that they raised this last year. They will be giving away $10,000 to $11,000. They haven't decided on the last school project that they want to do. General membership has selected them, and on January 10th at the Laughlin Mall, they'll be giving out $10,000 to other 501c3s in the whole tri-state area for needed programs. Additional services I want to remind you are notary services, and we are registered agents and issue fishing and small game licenses from our office. I'll entertain any questions that you may have about anything I said or didn't say.
You're usually pretty thorough.
Okay, we'll move on to the Laughlin Tourism Commission. The Laughlin Tourism Commission has sponsored two concerts coming up that we know of right now. There's another one slated to be signed, but we don't know who it's going to be. The first one is Chris Young. Laughlin Tourism is sponsoring that, and they are sponsoring the Brooks and Dunn concert in April. The U.S. Open Bass Tournament went amazing. We were almost sold out. A couple of people had to back out at the last minute. It was highly watched and regulated. We had a high turnover of mortality on some fish. I think we had close to 30 dead fish by the time we were done, but it's a long time for a fish to sit in 81-degree weather before they're taken out in the release boat. We are working on that a little bit better. We actually put everything closer to the water so it would happen faster. And so we're working with NDOW on how to improve our actions with fish once they're caught and then returned to the lake. That was an amazing event, and we have more people now returning just by being invited and introduced to Lake Mojave than we've ever seen before. King Shocks in October went amazing. We did have a fatality, unfortunately, of a media person. It was out of 17 miles of course. That young man was in the wrong 25 feet. He wasn't in prohibited areas, but it just so happened that that car flipped right in the area that he was standing, and it couldn't have waited just 10 more feet. It would have been great, but we did have a tragedy, and we held the race for 2 hours and then shortened the race by an hour so that agencies could take care of that part of the track. Unfortunately, it was right in front of the spectator area, so a lot of people were subject to the sight of what happened, and we've offered anything that we can to help those people get through it. If they need it, they just have to call the Laughlin Chamber at 702-298-2214, and we have agencies standing by to talk to you about it. Southern Nevada Off-Road Enthusiasts, our VIPs will be there, and we have sponsored that again this year. Laughlin Tourism has also sponsored the Laughlin Bullhead Air Show, so there are committee spaces available if you still want to play with us. And we did receive a $10,000 premier sponsorship from Finley. We have several different ranges of sponsorships. They're not all $10,000. They go down to $1,500, I think, just to help us with some of the incidental expenses that we're going to have for trash cans and potties and all that kind of stuff that we have to plan so we can keep compliant. This week, the City of Needles will be celebrating their 100th birthday. So if you have opportunity, I do have a ticket if anybody wants to go on November 12th. I have one ticket valued at $100 that any of you could go attend if you want to, and I'll give it to you. Destination Marketing is working really hard. As I said, Nevada Division of Tourism has received an application from me for the Rural Marketing Grant that we're going to use straight for the air show. And it will help both sides of the river promote this air show to bring attention to our destination. The air show is going to be free to spectators, so no one has to pay to get in, and that's why we're doing it, so that we bring attention to our destination and hopefully increase tourism by doing it and make this an annual event. And that's my report for Laughlin Tourism.
Any questions from the board? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We were to receive a report from Tanya Worth, and she's not from the Laughlin Library. She's not with us today. And also receive a report from Laughlin School System, and I don't see Dawn Estes with us. Okay. So we'll move forward to announcements of neighborhood meetings and community and county or community meetings and events. If there are any additional announcements, anyone from the board has, please.
I'd like to make the announcement for Veterans Day, November 11th.
Your mic? Thank you.
It's not on. Okay.
For Veterans Day, November 11th at 11 a.m. at the Avenue of Flags, we will have the Veterans Ceremony. So everyone is invited to attend.
Okay. Thank you. And that's 11 a.m. Nevada time. I'm still struggling. Okay, all right. And I do have an announcement. Is there anyone else for public or community meetings? Okay. Jackie?
I am wearing my River Fund board hat right now. River Fund is bringing back the Dam Duck Derby at Davis, and it will be held on April 15th, 2023.
I'm sorry, what is it again?
The Dam Duck Derby at Davis. We will allow people to adopt a duck, and we will drop it from the dam. I did this event when I was the director of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and we will be dropping ducks from close to the buoy line on the river, and they will be flowing down with numbers on their butts. And if you adopt a duck and your duck comes in, it comes in certain places. So I think we're going to pay down to 50 ducks, and the last duck will get paid, and it is about 5,000 ducks right now. And that's money to raise for the unrestricted funds of the River Fund Incorporated nonprofit.
Okay,
And more will come out later.
that sounds fun. I don't remember that event ever happening here in Laughlin, but maybe I just missed it. Okay, we do have an announcement that applications are available until November 15th for appointments by Clark County Board of County Commissioners to serve on this board, the Laughlin Town Advisory Board, for a 2-year term beginning in January of 2023. Okay, so if anyone wants those, they can get them from Tammy, from this office, and I believe also on the Clark County website. It's available.
And we have applications in the back as well.
Okay, and there's applications at the back of the room today. Let's see, we have an announcement. Laughlin Town Advisory Board will begin accepting nominations for the 2023 Laughlin Citizen of the Year beginning today, November 8th, 2022, and nominations will close on December 30th of 2022. I believe in our packets here today and at the back of the room are the applications for Citizen of the Year. So if you fill those, is it online too? Yeah, it's online and can be submitted digitally, or is that still printed and returned here? They can send it digitally online, but you can also pick up an application at the back of the room or from the town manager's office and go ahead and fill that out for anyone that you feel, nominations can be turned in here by 5 p.m. of that day, and the award is given annually in honor of the late Jim Edwards and is intended to recognize and thank the outstanding citizen of Laughlin who has given his or her private time and effort to help local government make Laughlin a better place to live. It's expected that the 2023 Citizen of the Year recipient will be announced and honored at the Tuesday, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, meeting of the Laughlin Town Advisory Board here in this office. So if anyone would like to pick those up and you know some people that you'd like to nominate, am I mistaken? It's a resident of the Laughlin community, am I correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yes, it's a resident of the Laughlin community. Okay. Any questions from the board on that? No? So item number 4 is planning and zoning. We have no items standing before us. Item number, 6, item number 7, general business. Review, discuss, and approve the 2023 Laughlin Town Advisory Board meeting dates and take any action deemed appropriate. In our packets are a list of dates.
I make the motion that we accept the dates as presented.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? And a second. All those in favor? Aye. And the motion carries. Okay, so those are accepted dates for 2023. Okay, and we have review and finalize FY, or fiscal year 2023-2024 budget requests and take public input regarding budget requests. So this has been, we've gone through this a number of times. Now I have to find my list of items that were before us. It's been refined, it's been revised, and we have it here today for final adoption. If you'll take a minute and take a look at that, and if there's any comment or if there's any discussion you want to have regarding these items. I'll give you guys a moment to take a look at how this is generated now after, I think, 3 revisions. And what I'm going to ask you to do is at the top right, write your name. And then I'm going to ask you to score them from 10 being the highest or what you consider most important, and 1 being the least important out of the items. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, oh yeah, we're allowed to discuss. That's why I brought that before. Take a look at it. If there's any discussion, also discussion with staff that we want to have. But just from the standpoint, so we can put them all together, if you put your name up at the top, then we'll know whose paperwork it is, and you put in your personal score.
I believe the creation of Laughlin Cemetery should probably be at the bottom of all of our lists, as that's not something that's going to happen quickly.
It's a longer process.
But a much longer process, if we're to get any of these approved, I'd like this to see us.
You like it to be more realistic than something that is,
Realistic about what we think is number 1, number 2, so on, and order of what we.
so things that can happen within, because this is FY 2023, which is,
And we've been doing these how long? You know?
I'm on like my 22nd.
Exactly. So maybe try to be a little more realistic about what we can get done now.
Okay.
Yes, long-term, it would be nice to have a cemetery here, but I think we need to be realistic.
I don't even know what the process would be for that. I have zero. It's never come before. Yeah, I don't even know what you would have with zoning or anything like that.
There would definitely be a lot with like
Yeah.
land dedication, finding land, finding permits, I mean, it's gonna be a very thorough process. I agree with what Pam has mentioned about, let's focus more on what's more attainable, what we can do.
Since this is an FY, it's a
Yep.
fiscal year, things that we expect to be
Yes,
completed
yes.
within a fiscal year.
Yep, yep.
So it would be something like, you could fund a study for something like that. Could possibly be
Yeah,
done.
stuff like that is
but
always-
it would be, right. Okay, so you could start funding a study for what exactly that would encompass.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's definitely a great point.
All right, so we have the RGC meeting room audience chair replacement, which are the chairs that I've seen. I know they're at least as old as, my first term was 2001, so they're at least that old. I would think older. I think as old as this building.
And I would think that would be more realistic.
Right.
As far as being able to get that done.
In FY.
Everything else that's on this.
Right, right. So we have the audience chair replacement, and we have the Rome Tech building air conditioning in Pyramid Park. And one of the reasons for that is so that we can have vendors there, because no one is doing any type of vending, because without air conditioning, it's impossible. We all know what it's like here in the summer. So the Trails host site, we have, Sergeant's not with us anymore, but we have had some difficulties with some issues along the trails. We've also had some issues with overgrowth and vegetation as well. But what they're asking is the Trails host site for funding of that. A Spirit Mountain marquee sign, creation of the Laughlin Cemetery, community digital marquee, so that's 2 marquees, and a dedication motorsports park with Wi-Fi.
From my perspective, I would love to see a community digital marquee. It would be nice for the citizens of Laughlin to know what is going on. I would place a higher priority than over the Trails Hole site, a marquee sign for Spirit Mountain. Because, and not only that, it would let others who visit our community know what's going on as well.
Okay. No problem. Any other comments on any of these items that we've put on our list? Herm?
I have a comment on an item that isn't there, but I want to make the comment anyway.
Okay.
It's the absence of signage directing people to the Upper Reach Park from Highway 163. See if there's a sign out there that that directs anyone to go up to that.
The heritage?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing. There is absolutely no.
I look at Jackie because she's become our sign lady.
There is nothing. It doesn't say, hey, visit this park.
Okay.
It doesn't say, like, you know, you have a park that says, picnicking, splash park, fishing. There's nothing that has that, so people will pull off that.
And even know.
To go see it.
Okay. So that might be something we could agendize for an upcoming meeting, trying to put the people together that would do that.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, no, we're making progress on that as well. I know there is a sign, but it's not like an extensive sign that says, these are the resources, like, you know, horseback
Right.
riding, picnic.
Yeah, because that would be, I see those all over
Yeah.
in different recreational areas.
Yeah, and we can definitely find out who can do it and where we can put it. What jurisdiction on, like, if it's either NDOT sign or our sign, that's the other
Right.
issue, but we can definitely look into it. That can be something that's not on
We can
here.
agendize for December
That-
meeting?
I
or-
can honestly look into it myself, if you want.
Okay.
Like, if, I can contact.
But is it
my-
something we want to add to this FY, this fiscal year?
It's up to you. If you'd like to, we could do it, maybe additional sign or sign inventory, something like that might be something to do, and then.
Just an overall sign?
Sure.
You know, not necessarily, so what I'm asking Herm is signage not only for that, but there's possibly some other areas that, you know, there's an absence, like going into Big Bend and stuff like that, some more
Sure.
signage there?
Yeah, and that's something we could work with Public Works and also Parks and Rec.
Right.
With their sign inventory, so if we want to do, like you said, like a study of.
So you're okay if we add this to this FY?
I'm okay with that, yeah, I think that's.
Tammy?
Do you see any?
Is there a process that we have to go through, or?
If he's able to move forward as far as starting out updating signs.
It doesn't make sense to put it here?
Does not, because this is gonna be allocated to different departments, it's gonna be for the next.
Okay, so
Yeah.
why don't we agendize this for the next meeting, and not only
My
that, but,
suggestion would be to agendize it.
Correct.
For the next meeting.
right, and then, but what I'm asking is if we can also get some input. I know there's several, you know, people in the community here, for that next meeting in December to come forward with other, basically absence of signage areas that you see that would help the guests that we have that come to recreate here, you know that you can do kayaking here, that, you know, what's coming up in Big Bend where there's fishing and things like that. So the overall absence of signage, if we can agendize that and maybe get some community public input, because I you know, unfortunately, I have lived here 30 years, so I just kind of, I know where everything's at, and I don't pay attention to the signage. See, exactly. So she needs to know, and I don't pay attention like I should. I will now because it's at the forefront, but I
And a
haven't.
side note to that as well is, we have that Fix It Clark County app. So a lot
Oh,
of
you
times
do.
there's signs in the community that fall down. Unfortunately, we don't have the staff, or Public Works doesn't have the staff to drive every single road or go to every single park. So having the community email that Fix It Clark County and let them know a sign's down, that's how we can, because a lot of times the sign will fall down, then it'll blow away. And then everyone just sees that pole and they go, well, what's that? So having that, you know, community involvement to be able to let us know, that's always huge, because a lot of people are the, you know, there's one that I noticed that was on Neal's Highway, and I spoke to Public Works, and they were able to put it back up. So
Great.
just keep that in mind as well as like a side note with
Yep.
the signs.
So definitely, then we'll put that on the December
Yeah.
agenda, and then ask for public input, and then each one of us, as we, you know, have lived here so long, we don't always see it, but, you know, it's very much the case. So just take a look and bring that to the next meeting.
Sure.
Okay, thank you, Herm. Okay. So we'll go back and just take a look at the capital budget requests. So what I'd like to ask, is there any more conversation on any of these items, or anyone else care to speak? Okay, so I'd like to ask that you go ahead and rate 10 being your highest and 1 being your lowest score, but you'll actually, I think, only go to like number 4, because there's 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7
I'd like to
items.
ask for clarification on the
Sure.
Trails Host site. Is this the site where we have RVers stay and watch the park?
This is the site that was gonna go up by the trail pad, at the very beginning up here on the hill. A new site was gonna be built, so we would have somebody there, to oversee the
At the start.
trailhead and to keep down, the homeless population and the vandalism in that area. We just never got off the ground with that new
Right.
site. And yes, it would require
Thank you.
Any more questions? Okay, so if you'll please rate that and then just go ahead and pass them to me, and then I'll give them to Tammy. I just like doing it that way better than, it was a mess last time, I remember, over the years. Tabulated. Yep. And then Herm, when you're done, we'll just give them to Tammy. And again, this agenda item you'll be seeing it again in December for a final vote of the items that we've discussed here today. Okay, and then we'll move forward to item number 8 on our agenda, which is comments by the general public. It's a period devoted to comments by the general public about matters relevant to the board's jurisdiction. No vote may be taken on a matter not listed on the posted agenda. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Please step up to our speaker's podium, state your name and address for the record, and please spell your last name. If any member of the board wishes to extend the length of a presentation, this will be done by the chair or the board by majority vote. Okay. Seeing that, is there anyone that would like to speak on items relevant to our jurisdiction but not on today's agenda? Please, welcome.
Karen Kirschner, Kirchner. Did you want my address too?
Please, for the record.
3279 Del Monte Street.
Okay.
Okay? We have feral cats in our neighborhood. Las Vegas Animal Control will not pick those cats up. The Animal Foundation, 200 miles round trip to Vegas, will rent us a cat trap, but we have to bring them back. They will spay and neuter them for free, but then we got to bring them back to our neighborhood. The Humane Society cannot help us unless we drive up there, and it's the same situation as the Animal Foundation. According to the Humane Society, most of these cats are carrying diseases, and their big problem right now is cat leukemia. This is one of the many services we pay for with our taxes, but get no help. Our HOA has been waiting for a code enforcement report since 2021. We have no county recorder, no way to get building permits unless we go to Vegas. We get called up for jury duty. There are 8 new schools being built in Las Vegas, but our kids are still going to school in trailers, the grade school kids. We had a DA who refused to charge a person for shoplifting, and now that person is back threatening the clerks with violence.
Run that by me again.
The DA had a person that was caught for shoplifting and threatening a clerk. They arrested him, they filed no charges. Now he's gone back to the store and he's threatened the clerks there with violence.
In Laughlin here.
In Laughlin. And then my final thing is, I've been here 10 years, I do not know where Heritage Park is.
Okay.
Terrible.
I know,
My favorite part.
but where is it?
We need signage.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so I,
Concerned about feral cats?
sure, I was just going to, go ahead,
Okay.
Jackie.
We might be able to help you locally with the feral cats. We had feral cats all along the river outside of the resorts that were driving us crazy, and they were fighting with the raccoons. And so what we did was we got some animal control people to donate several traps. We would trap them, we'd call them, and they'd come pick them up, take them to the free spay and neuter in Kingman, clip their ear to prove that they've had disease checked. If they're diseased, they would just put them down. Clip their ear and tell us that they've been spayed or neutered, and then they would be brought back. Or there's 2 ranches that we know within 500 miles of here that takes them and leases them out to ranches to get rid of the mice and the rats. So there are some solutions. We just have to get in contact with those people, and I think that Aquarius is still trapping. So they might be able to get you into their program that they're doing.
Are they paying for that, or is that a free service?
No, it's supposed to be a free service.
Who would I contact at Aquarium?
You would call me, I'll give you my card, and I'll give you the name of the people to call. How's that? Okay. But it could help until we find out how our county can help us.
Okay, all right. So just a couple of things, Ms. Kirshner, that you had said. So I just want to try and unpack that a little bit with my knowledge, because, our public, the way we're televised and stuff, they can't always make the meetings. So I'm going to hand off a little bit about the school, the development of our school, the funding that we've had, and the development that's happening. I'll hand that off to Mark to start that, and then I'll pick up on the animal control aspect. Mark, please.
Yes, so that's a great point. I know there was bonding that was issued, and there will be the construction of the new school. I know they're moving very quickly with that. There's going to be meetings, I would say, in the new year to kind of finalize plans. So that's a great resource. All CCSD school, it'll be a brand new school there, which I know is very needed in the community.
Right, right. And we've also,
It'll be, I believe, right by where the current school is, or maybe like a little
near
off of it. Yeah.
Right, and because that's Clark County land, so we have the land. And then in addition, this board has also taken on somewhat of a partnership with Metro Police to bring our own law enforcement, Clark County School District Police, to the campuses. So that's something that we're working on as well. To address what you have said, so I've been a resident here for 29, almost 30 years, and in that time frame, years ago, we used to have an animal control contract, and her name was Zena. Everybody knew her, and it's been something that we're lacking. And I'll just add that at the beginning of October, one of my working canines passed, a 16-year-old bitch that I'd had with me for a long time. She passed on a Saturday, and it was the holiday that we had in October. I could not get the body delivered. Fortunately, I have large commercial freezers in vacant buildings that I own, but I could not get the body to anyone. No one would respond. The funeral home didn't respond. So I went through that as well, and it was, for me, on the day after the holiday, the Tuesday, I contacted Lead, and they said, oh, you could have come. You could have just driven it up. One thing I would request possibly, what would have helped me, because you just get that no one's there. But on the recording that they have, we know we love those voicemails that go around and around. At the Lead Animal Control, when you call there, if it would say, if you have a deceased animal after hours or on the weekend or a holiday, you can bring that to the Lead Animal Shelter from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., or I think it was 11 to 7 on holidays. If that was just in their voicemail that they give you telling, if you have an emergency, call this number. If you have a dead animal, call this number. That type of thing, because no one answers at the other line. But if they just said in that message, if you have a deceased animal and you can bring it to the Lead Animal Control, we'll take custody of the animal. But it is something that, we talked about agendizing for signage. Is it possible that this board can look into the contract again for animal services? It's an ongoing problem for this community, and I don't know where the funding went when we had Zena and stuff. I know she retired, but I don't know what that contract was, but it hasn't been picked up for, I would say, 7-8 years.
Yeah, no, and we can definitely look into it. I know the most recent update was Commissioner Naft had kind of spearheaded the idea of partnering with Bullhead City Animal Control just because of the location, because right now what happens if you call Animal Control and they have to come down, Metro actually works with them. So if it's like something that they can control, they will, and then they will keep in contact with the animal control officer that comes down and takes an hour and a half. We had looked into working with Bullhead City to do kind of an intergovernmental agreement where like how we'd pay for it and all that. Currently, what their statement was, just as everyone has, due to staffing issues, they weren't able to commit. So that's where right now, which is kind of we weren't happy because, of course, that would be a much easier resource to have that, but we also don't want to strain their service as well. Right. We don't want to take away from theirs. So I'm more than happy to revisit that with them, see if maybe stuff has changed in the past few months, but that's where right now, and then I can look into this other contract as well and talk with our animal control department.
I believe Zena was an FTE, so I think she was a full-time equivalent, but I could be mistaken.
Sure.
I believe it was allocated as an FTE position.
Okay.
It's something that's been brought up before, and I know we did try, and
Yeah.
that was the response that we got. But and that was during the pandemic time.
Yep.
And things were really bizarre, and getting anything accomplished was didn't happen. So I'm just wondering if we might want to pick that up and revisit that, because now I know the resorts, a lot of the resorts have traps, because, my restaurants at the Harrah's are like 150 feet off the river, same at Riverside. And I know that the resorts have traps down there. At least I know Harrah's did, because I caught a ring-tailed lemur. So that was it going in my restaurant.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they could look into someone who's an on-call.
Yep, yeah. I mean, I know, and to be completely honest, I know their staff in Clark County as a whole is very thin. I mean, with all the calls they get in the Las Vegas metro area and the rural areas, I mean, it's not just Laughlin specific, it's also in the Las Vegas Valley. You're not getting immediate service just because we don't have the amount of staff and the amount of resources. So it's nothing to do with the location. They take every call. It's more of how do they allocate the resources the most cost-effective way to be able to do it, and how do they make their staff actually be able to do their job and not running ragged for 15 hours straight. So,
Right.
and there's a lot of things. I mean, that's when they review the numbers that they do and everything, they're able to see if they're able to do more staff members and all that. So, but we can always look into it as well.
Yeah, I just think it's time to revisit
Yeah.
that. And then, in addition, the information that she gave us about shoplifting and someone harassing, I don't know if Sergeant Briscoe's still in the building, but it might be something. I'm sure he's more aware of it than I am, and he may not know that that person's showing back up. So it's something I'll just stop over there and see if he's aware of it. Because in this, the good thing is, one of the reasons we all love living here is our police pretty much know where the problems are, and they know the individuals, and they can offset a lot of things from happening just because of those relationships. And so, and he's ever present everywhere. He drives by my house like 4 times a day, I think. So, okay. I'm sorry, I'm a heart. Okay, if you know the particulars about it, okay, because I can stop over there too. Okay, thank you. Okay, so Ms. Kirshner, did we answer most of your questions or give you a little bit of an update? Ms. Kirshner, did we answer your questions and give you a little bit of an update? We got to get some signage, but Heritage Park is part of the Greenway Trails system, and it runs adjacent, so it has several different, I don't know what the total distance of it is. Does anyone recall offhand?
I would say the best thing is, when you're
The
driving.
Heritage Greenway Trails, and then the
Yeah.
9.5 miles of trails with a trailhead, which is up, Jackie, can you? I know you're pointing, but can you say what that is? The,
So here's State Route 163, and then there's a turnoff to Needles right here at 163. Yes. Okay.
Go
When you
further.
Turn off to Needles Highway, you keep going, and right about here, there's a road that's called Davis Dam Road. You take Davis Dam Road. I know where that is. Yeah, take it all the way to the end.
correct, just prior.
Yeah.
And that's
You've
where we
seen it,
need
you
more
just have never
signage.
been
Now,
there.
there's
Yeah.
another way to reach, the top of the dam and stuff going further back off 160, which I wasn't sure if you were there or there. I wasn't sure which way you were starting. We used to have an equestrian center and stuff there where you could rent horses. So there's, that aspect of it too. Okay, but we do need some signage. So obviously, I know you've been here for a while too, so. Okay. All right. Sure, if you want, if you have information to update. Code enforcement, I will just add that code enforcement visited my home on Saturday. I was quite surprised. But no, he didn't know who I was in my pajamas. So Saturday morning he came out, and it was just regarding the fact that the house next door to me is being rented out on Airbnb. And, they did come before us, and they did say, there would be a whole process. My neighbor, unfortunately, he lives next door to me. And so my conversation with him was that you have to get the licensing, you have to get the additional insurance and things like that. So he will comply, but code enforcement, the other neighbors, did call it in, and code enforcement did come out on Saturday.
Wonderful. No, that's
Yep.
great. And that's a big thing, is a lot of times we hear about complaints and stuff, but people don't go through the correct channels to submit them. So it's a lot of people talking to each other's neighbors. If you submit it, it gets a case number to it, and they have to follow up, and it gets emailed to all of us. So there's more processes.
9
So-
o'clock on a Saturday, I was
Sure.
surprised.
Yeah, and they'll probably give us an update as well. So.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
So please.
Ralph Perez, Monte del Sol, code enforcement situation. The reason she brought it up is we both live in the same deal. We have an issue that we reported a while back. We have a case number.
Okay.
That's been handed off to 2 officers now, and we still can't get response on it. They keep giving us the same story. We're working on it. Well, it's been quite a while now. Today I left a message for Lieutenant Mann over there. I'm hoping he'll call me back, but it's an ongoing thing. You know, it shouldn't take 8 months, you know,
Sure.
to handle that issue. You know, somebody should have gone over there, looked at it, you know, find the person, you know, and then go back and respond to see what the find is, if he did it or if he didn't, and move
Sure.
on. It shouldn't take that long. If you like, I'll give you that number so you can take
Yes.
a look at it.
Yes, please
Okay.
email that to myself and Tammy. We are
You got
more
it.
than happy to look into
Okay,
it. And
I appreciate it, because
yeah.
it's an ongoing thing, and unfortunately, the issue that we have right now with that incident is that it's right on the entrance of our Monte del Sol. Everybody's looking at it, people are complaining about it, and people are saying, well, you know, if he can do it, we can do it, and we don't want that. We don't want that. It's a blatant disrespect of the whole place. I mean, it's just.
Is it
you
an
know,
HOA?
It's an HOA.
Okay, that might be some issue, but let me look into it
Yeah.
because,
Well, it's code enforcement because, you know,
Okay.
they put a building, a very large building on the property with no setback.
okay,
Okay, so there's no setback, it's, you know,
sure.
So-
Yeah, okay, perfect.
so
We can
anyways,
look at it.
that's just want to make sure we can, I'll get that over to you.
Awesome, appreciate it,
Thank
Ralph.
you.
Thank you. Okay, so is there anyone else for public comment? This one gentleman's been just so quiet and stoic. Welcome.
Thank you.
So, seeing no one else for public comment, we'll go ahead. Our next meeting date is December 13th, 2022, here in this office. That'll be our last meeting of the year. And so with that, I'll go ahead and call for adjournment. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Thank you for your afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.